ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Happy Durgashtami to all of you. These are the Navratri days, and Dasra or Vijayadashmi, they say, is always a good day to start any new studies or to continue with the studies that we are already doing. And we are doing a very beautiful text by Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya, Vivekachudamani, the crown jewel of discrimination. And the topic that we are on right now is the fit student, the qualifications of a fit student. And 4 qualifications have been enumerated, technically known as sadhana chatushtaya. Chatushtaya, fourfold. Sadhana for self-effort. What is required for the spiritual studies is Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and Mokshutvam. Viveka, discrimination, and we've seen the highest definition of discrimination to be the discrimination between self and not self, or Sat and Asat, permanent and impermanent, permanent and ephemeral, real and mithya. That also words we can use, Sat and Asat. And we have also seen other definitions, not other, but Viveka at a little bit of a lower level. It starts at Shreya prayer. That is where it starts. Kathopanishad gives us this. There are 2 parts. One is good, what is good for me, and one what is pleasing to me. So if we start there, even if it's suddenly to get Sat Asat Vivek, or to say that, oh, okay, now I don't have Sat Asat Vivek, so I can't study the scriptures, that is not correct. We start studying, and as we start studying, we come to know what sort of Vivek is required. And then we also come to know what are the steps to reach that highest definition. So we can start with the baby steps. We can start with Shreya prayer, then we can go to Aushi, we can go to Sadhana Sadhya. So these are all the various discriminations that we can work our way up. Next is Vairagya. If we have correct discrimination, definitely dispassion will come. If I know that my most favorite dish has been poisoned, there's no way that I'm going to eat it. That is immediate dispassion will be there. The problem that we don't have dispassion is because we don't have strong viveka, strong discrimination. We know our conscience tells us what is good and what is pleasing, but you know, the senses, the mind is very weak, the senses are running out, and that's what it is. Dispassion is going above likes and dislikes, where going above likes and dislikes means where any object, situation, or person must not have that kind of strong effect on us, that if it is not there, my life is not worth living. That sort of effect should not be there. Yeah, it is there, I enjoy it, but if it's not there, I'm going to live, you know, nothing is going to happen. So that's sort of vairagya, that level of vairagya at least we must have for the external world. Then we have Shat Sampati, which include Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Samadhana, and Shraddha. So Shama and Dama, we have Shama we saw, I think we are on Dama now. Shama is the control of the mind, and then Dhamma is the control of the senses, and that's where we are. My bookmark is telling me we are on 23, verse 23, right? Correct? We've done 22, yeah. So we are on verse 23. In my book, it's page 37, but maybe in the new edition, the page number is different. विषयेभ्य परावर्त्य स्थापनं स्वस्वगोलके उभयेषामीन्द्रियाणां सदमपरिकीर्तितः बाह्यानालम्बनं वृत्तेः एषोपरतिरुत्तमा. Steering both kinds of sense organs of knowledge and action away from their sense objects and placing them in their respective centers of activity is called Dhamma or self-control. The best uparati, self-withdrawal, is that condition of the thought waves in which they are free from influences of external objects. So there are two aspects that Bhagwan is dealing with here. One is the Dhamma, which is the control of the sense organs. So both included organs of perception, organs of action. Organs of action follow organs of perception. So if you control the organs of perception, action will be controlled. If I don't want to see a movie, why am I going to go driving to the theater? If I don't want to eat something, why am I going to go order it? So action, and the reason is because the sense organs are subtler than the organs of action. So it's easier to control the organs of action. See, if a person is addicted to cigarettes, it is very easy for him not to buy those cigarettes, not to buy the foods that he doesn't want to eat, keep them away from him. But from his mind to remove them, that is difficult. And that is the reason, because the sense organs, the organs of perception, are subtler than the organs of action. And anything which is gross is easy to control. So when they say the Dhamma is both control, it's mainly control of the organs of perception. If they are under our control, action is not going to happen. The phenomena is that the perception is being taken in through the Jnanendriyas, which are the sense organs of perception. And then the mind decides that an action has to be taken. And then the organs of action go into function. So it's the third thing. First is organs of perception, then the mind comes in between, and then the mind says, yes, I do want to go buy this, or I do want to go see the movie. Then the legs will go there, or the person will go to the mall and buy whatever. So it's if the thought doesn't arise in the mind, or if the mind is dispassionate enough to know that this is not good for me, action will not happen. So controlling action is easier than controlling the mind. And Swaswa Golaka is a technical term, and Golakam is the actual, it is not the fleshy eye, but it is the center inside which actually sees. See, there is a fleshy eye, but then there is the power of seeing. That power of seeing is hidden, it is subtle. That's why you can see a person with perfect eyes and then you realize that the person can't see. So that is what Golaka is. So what is being said here is that fleshy eye, instead of going out into color and form, or place it in its own center. Means what? Control it. Basically, place it means it's already placed in its center. But you know, that's why we use the word, oh, my eyes are running now, my ears are running, you know, means they're running towards the sense objects, right? Because they want to enjoy those. So keep them in their places. That is what is meant. Vishayebhya paravartya. So Vishaya here is objects, and objects includes objects, situations, and persons, because we get caught up in all these three. So that is what parikirtitaha, that is what is defined as dhamma. And bhaya na alambanam, the bhaya means alambanam is support. So if we avoid taking the support of the outside objects, external objects, it is uparati. Uparati is withdrawal. And in Tattva Bodh, Bhagwan has given the definition of uparati as following your own dharma. See, if we strictly only follow our own dharma, there will be an automatic withdrawal from a lot of things. If you think about it, if my, my dharma is as per my varna and ashrama. Dharma, who tells us what dharma is? Varna and ashrama. Okay, so there is a brahmachari. So what is the dharma of the brahmachari? Is to study, student life. The main function of that brahmachari ashram, is to study. So now he should not engage in some gossiping about other people, going for movies. That is not his dharma. His dharma is to concentrate on his studies. If he concentrates on his studies, there will be an automatic withdrawal from all these other things. A grahastha has his own family, her own family. So look after the family, look after the job. Of course, job is your dharma as well, because you've taken it up. But there is no reason for a grahastha to be involved in the neighbors, what is happening with the neighbors, what is happening with the friends. That is not my dharma. It does not fall under my dharma. It falls under time pass. So unnecessary time pass, avoiding unnecessary gossip, unnecessary talking, unnecessary. It doesn't fall under the purview of my dharma. So if I strictly follow what the Shastra is telling me to do, I'm a grahastha. Okay, so I have to look after my house, I have to look after my family, maybe extended family, maybe I also have a job. Yes, look after your job also, but no need to look after somebody else's, what other people are doing, what other people have, what I don't have, that sort of thing we must not have. So uparati will come, withdrawal therefore will come. Uparati will also follow if the sense organs are under control. That is also withdrawal of the sense organs. If the senses are in their places, they are not running here and there, automatic withdrawal will happen. So uparati will come as well. Okay, and next is titiksha. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha nigadyate. Titiksha is the capacity to endure all sorrows and sufferings without struggling for redress or for revenge, being always free from anxiety or lament over them. So titiksha is forbearance, to bear. The key word here is apratikara purvakam. Pratikara is resistance. Apratikara is without resistance. Without resistance is what? Accepting it. So what happens is, when a situation comes to us, we have to go through it. We have no choice. But what we do is we constantly complain. See, when any kind of sorrow comes, the first thing we say is, why me? When happiness comes, we never say, why me? If I win a lottery, you think anybody will say, oh, why me? Why didn't my neighbor win? Why didn't my enemy get it? Nobody says that. So sorrows, they have to be borne anyways when sorrows come. Happiness, there's no question of titiksha. We are happy to undergo whatever happiness there is. But we cannot even complain. We must not complain. Then it becomes titiksha. If we are complaining. I remember an incident when I was studying in Sandipani, and Guruji, periodically he will come and he will stay, and there he will, then when he's in station, then he will take a text for us, a text which our Acharya did not want to take. Any text, he will ask the Acharya, That was his style. What text don't you want to take or you don't like to take? They'll say so and so. Okay, I will take that. So whatever the Acharya didn't like, Guruji took. That's Guruji's greatness. Anyway, so one of these texts that when we were doing, it was very hot, of course. And in Saraswati Nilayam, which is the main hall where we study, there are fans, but not everybody gets a place under the fan, right under the fan. There are fans are running full speed, all of them. So then there were students who were like doing this with a fan in front of Guruji. Guruji just lost it. He said, you know, I know it is hot. Because he's also in Bombay only. He's also saying there only in that same ashram. He said, just bear it. Don't do this when I am talking. Like Guruji is giving his lecture and people are fanning themselves, right? That is titiksha. What he's asking there, what he was asking there, he's saying titiksha. Okay, it is hot. I know. So titiksha is, it is hot, period. Stop. Not, oh, now how am I going to stay in this and how am I going to live in this? And no, nothing further. If you do, if you no complaining after that, then it becomes titiksha. And that is a very important requirement for a spiritual seeker. Why? Once again, the path is not easy. If you can't even bear this, you know, little bit of cold here, a little bit of heat there, if these pinpricks of life you cannot bear, then how will you bear the other greater things that will come in life? You'll be complaining all the time, and a complaining mind is not a peaceful mind. And a mind which is not peaceful cannot absorb this knowledge. That is the reason that you accept and apratikara purvakam, you accept whatever situation. One question somebody had asked me, and I don't want them to see, it was misunderstood. So she was traveling in a car, and the driver, she was sitting in the back seat, the car was full, and the driver had lowered all the windows. So now she started feeling very, very cold, and she started shivering because of the air. So she asked the driver to raise her window. Then she had this doubt. She goes, oh my God, that means I have no titiksha. You know, sometimes spiritual studies, it confuses people. So that's why I'm telling you this. So then she felt guilty. So then she came to me. She said, you know, Jaya, does that mean I have no titiksha? I said, you know, titiksha doesn't mean that you have a choice. Your body's feeling cold. What this heat and cold, it's the Shitoshna Sama, where Bhagwan Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Shita and Ushna should be Sama. It is at the Shita and Ushna, these words are used to indicate the level of the body. So whatever happens to not physical heat, like now it's cold, I've got the heat on in the house. Okay, I shouldn't be switching the heat off. And I mean, you guys are in Calgary, so many of you. So it's snowing outside, but titiksha, you know, no heat in the house. Let me just freeze to death. That is not titiksha. Please do not understand it like that. But when these little pinpricks of life come, you know, then bear them without any resistance, accepting it to be a product of your own karma. So no blame game. It's your own karma from your past, which has now fructified as this particular situation. Okay, Lord, you have given me this situation. A jnani, a karma yogi says, it is my karma that has come. A jnani will say, he will say, this is the body. Body is false anyway. Body is an illusion. What is it? He will neutralize it that way. And a bhakta will say, God, you only have given me this, so you will give me the strength. So what is there to complain? So these are the ways how you can handle this. Another thing of titiksha was, you know, many years ago, Swami Chidatmananji was here, and Calgary had invited him. So we were both in Calgary, and on the flight back was at 9 o'clock. Like we finished the lecture, came to the airport straight, and 9 o'clock the flight was back to Vancouver. And I thought, okay, 9 at night, and I'm just going to get on the flight and go to sleep for 1 hour. As it is, we are sleep deprived when the yajnas are going on. And as luck would have it, we got on the flight, and the seat in front of us, there was a dog, and that dog barked full hour. The minute the flight took off, and I'm like, okay, now I can sleep, that dog started, it was a tiny dog. It started barking. Honestly, I'm telling you, not 1 second did that dog. And you know, I was almost going to, I was going like this, and Swamiji said, quiet. Accept it as your prarabdha and keep quiet, he said. Now I couldn't say anything because now Swamiji is sitting next to me saying, it's your prarabdha, titiksha. I remember that, you know, it happened the last time Swami Charananji was in. He said, no, just keep quiet. I said, let me, no. He said, no, chup baitho, keep quiet. So I came home and I wrote an email to WestJet, you know, saying that I was disturbed, I couldn't sleep, you should compensate. They're like, no, dogs are allowed on the flight. If the dog is barking, that's it, nothing, right? So that is what is meant by this titiksha, that this circumstance came to me where this dog was right in front of our seat and constantly, he could have slept, but he didn't sleep. So he was disturbed, and then he was disturbing all of us. So we just bear quietly that we have booked the ticket. Now what do you do? That becomes titiksha then. Not if I'm feeling cold, I don't ask for a blanket. Not like that. Okay? So titiksha. Chinta vilapa rahitam. See, chinta, worry, and vilapa, lamenting. Like, oh, why me? Apratikara purvaka. This chinta vilapa rahitam gets included in apratikara rahitam. There's no resistance. Why should I bear this? Why did it happen to me? These type of questions should not come. Accept it. Sometimes we make a mistake, and you know, then it actually happened to me today. To this morning, I had an appointment for a mammogram, and I was rushing, and I went there. And then she said to me, but we phoned you in the morning, your appointment is cancelled. Now, I had not checked my phone. I didn't hear the phone ring. I was in the shower when the phone came. So I was rushing, so I didn't check the phone. So I said, okay. She said, I'm sorry. I said, no, it's okay. I didn't check the phone. And this thing, so can you rebook me? And she said, yeah, we'll rebook you. But today the technician has called in sick and she didn't come. Titiksha. You don't say, why me? Now I ran and honestly, I had to look for parking, and I parked God knows where. And then I walked, I literally ran in the rain with the umbrella, everything I did. But I said, no, it's okay. It's my, ultimately, it's my, so neutralize it that way, because it was my fault. If I had checked, if there was a message on my phone, I would have known. They told me it's canceled, don't come. So this is what titiksha is, okay? But if you're feeling hot or if you're feeling cold, you please start your AC or your heat or take an umbrella in the rain. We're not saying, oh yeah, it's raining, that's my prarabdha, let me just get wet and get a cold. That is not titiksha, okay?
Can I just ask
Now,
a question?
faith, shraddha.
Shastras. Sorry.
Is somebody saying something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Is the tiksha something that you're born with, or is it something that you develop?
Both. A certain amount of titiksha, some people you will see, they are more patient than others. And now that we are in the studies and we have come to know, we can develop it, right? Like I said today, like maybe like that many years ago, I was quite upset when that dog was barking, right? When that dog started barking on the plane, when I was supposed to be sleeping now for 1 hour, and that dog is disturbed, I was disturbed. But today I was not. I said, okay, that's fine. Just rebook me. So it can be developed. All virtues, no matter what virtues we are studying in chapter 13, we studied in chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, we can develop them, because Bhagwan is not saying that, otherwise then there is no redemption. Na? If I was born Adveshta, Sarva Bhutanam and all that, how will there be progress? So there can be, part of it we bring as per our previous births, and then part of it we develop. But we will not develop unless we know. And that's why we need to listen to the scriptures. I don't think I had heard the word titiksha before I studied Tattva Bodh. I didn't know. Patience, English, but not titiksha. And then we used to get upset over little things, etc. Right? So that way. Okay. Shastrasya guruvakyasya satya buddhyavadharana sa shraddha katita sad shastradha katitha sad no. Sa shraddha katita sadbihi yaya vastu palabhyate. That by which one understands the exact import of the scriptures as well as the pregnant words of advice of the preceptor is called shraddha by the wise. By this alone does reality become manifestly clear. So this is shraddha, a very important virtue, a very important qualification for a student. And I already explained to you that shraddha is of like there are 5 aspects to shraddha. Begins with God. If you don't have faith that there is even a God, why would you even go to study about God? Second is, who tells me about God is the scriptures. So I have to have faith in the scriptures. That is why I've always told you that if the scriptures are saying something, they are right. That firm faith has to be there. If I don't understand or if I don't agree with it, I need to reevaluate my understanding. But the words of the scriptures don't change. So when scripture says Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, that's it. That's it. There is no change in that. There is no variation in that. So that faith has to be firm that whatever the scriptures are saying is correct. There is a God. Scriptures will tell me about God. Who will tell me about scriptures is Guru. And that's why the Vakya, because scriptures are not directly talking to us. We are reading them and we can always misunderstand. So the correct understanding will be given by the preceptor or teacher or Guru. And so we have to have faith in the Guru. If every single time when the Guru says something, I say, I don't think so. I don't think so. No. How come? We will not get the full import of that knowledge. So that faith in the Guru becomes very important. And then, of course, the means that the Guru is telling us, and then in my own self that I can do it. So that self-confidence, not the ego, not confidence in the ego, but the self-confidence that yes, come what may, I will do it. So if I already have developed titiksha and shama dama uparati titiksha, then I will say, yeah, I can probably do this, what the Guru is saying. So faith, I was thinking about this verse, and actually what I thought was, even in the material world, there is a lot of faith that is involved. When I start driving my car, there is faith that, I will reach on time. There is faith that, God willing, I will not have an accident. There is faith when I go to sleep, I will wake up in the morning. So there is faith in the doctor. I always think of that. You get a capsule or whatever. How do you know what is inside there? Okay, you have faith in the doctor, he's given you the correct medication. That means we have faith in that company who has made that capsule, and inside we have faith that there is the correct medicine. How do you know it's not a placebo? Are we opening the tablet or seeing and analyzing it? Nothing. So faith is very important, and we have faith in everything outside. Why not have faith in the spiritual teacher? So faith is the most important aspect in this. The thing is, if there is only this strong faith, that will carry you. And if you have faith, all these other things will automatically come. Shabri. We have the example of Shabri, who had faith in. So there was Shama, Dama, she was waiting. So everything was there. Uparati was there, withdrawal was there. Everything came just because the Guru said that Sri Ram is going to come. So just on that basis of faith, she developed all these other qualities. So this alone does, and because of that, then because the mind becomes when you have faith, the mind becomes free of any kind of doubts, and becomes peaceful. It's like there was a 3-year-old girl, it said, on the Titanic, and she was playing. And when the Titanic started sinking and everybody started running helter-skelter saying, oh, this, something, she just ran and she got into her mother's lap and she said, now nothing will happen to me. So she got into the mother's lap, right? So full faith in the mother, how the baby has full faith in the mother, right? That way we must have that faith in God or Guru. And that will relieve us of any kind of tension that we have. All right.
Narayanji had a question.
Who had a question?
Sir,
Yes, Narayanji, yes.
the question was, I think I have read or heard, Shraddha is far more impact than the English word of faith.
Mm.
Is that right?
That's what it said. Yeah, Sanskrit Shraddha. Yes, yes.
Shraddha has got it something far more than just the mere words or reading, and I think it's just beyond
Yeah,
all these English translations.
yes. But then we don't have a word for it, so we use faith, not blind faith. We start our studies with blind faith, but then it has to get converted as faith gets we have faith, so we start studying. We have faith in the mission or in Gurudev, whoever. That initial faith is blind faith. It is required. It is okay. It is okay. But as we study and as we even when we first time we read Shama Dama, all these qualifications, it's blind faith, but we start following it, and then we see the result, and then that faith becomes knowledge. And once it becomes knowledge, you don't need faith. So this is Shraddha, is faith with knowledge. It is not blind faith. Faith can be blind and with knowledge, but Shraddha, when we say the word Shraddha, is used only for faith with knowledge. So it is therefore becomes much more firm than blind. Blind faith is actually, there is a word called belief also. I believe in something, and when they use the word belief, they say can go away, can change. So, but faith, when we use the word, when we use Shraddha, then Shraddha can never go away. That's the difference. But faith, if it's blind faith, it will go away. You may lose faith in that person or whatever. Okay. सर्वदा स्थापनं बुद्धेः शुद्धे ब्रह्मणि सर्वथा तत्समाधानमित्युक्तं न तु चित्तस्य लालनं. Samadhana. Now next qualification, tranquility is that condition when the mind is constantly engaged in the total contemplation of the supreme reality, and it is not gained through any amount of intellectual oscillations. So contentment is again a state of the mind. If you remember, if you look at all these virtues, they are all a state of the mind. There's nothing physical in that, unless titiksha. But titiksha also, if the mind is under control, then the physical difficulties will be borne without any resistance. Contentment is a state of the mind where you may not have it all, but you're happy with whatever that you have. That is what contentment is. So, and here he says it's constantly engaged in the total contemplation of the supreme reality, because the supreme reality is the only thing which is stable. So you don't shake, like, no matter what happens, you are happy. And it doesn't mean that you have a lot. Contentment doesn't, you're contented, oh yeah, I have a big house and a big, no. A person in a small house, a poor person, he can also be content, because he can think that whatever I have is perfect, is good for me. We see that contentment mostly in the lives of devotees. So that is the reason that we must all try and read the autobiographies or biographies of the devotees. When you see them living in poverty and having that kind of faith, they are the practical version of the theory that we study in this Jnana Marga. So we are studying all this, right? Shama, Dama, Uparati, and this total engaged in total contemplation of the supreme reality. A bhakta is always reveling in that, and that is why he is always content no matter what. We see that there is one story of a saint called Gora Kumbhar. Kumbhar is a potter. So he would pound the mud, because the clay, and he was a devotee of Vitthal Bhagwan, who is an incarnation of Vishnu. Vitthal Bhagwan is the deity of Maharashtra. So all the Maharashtrian saints that we study about, they were devotees of Vitthal Bhagwan. He was also, so he was constantly engaged in chanting the name of Bhagwan, and he was pounding the clay. He didn't even realize that his child, his baby, crawled into that mud, and he pounded the baby, and the baby died. He didn't realize. He was completely there. So when he realized what he had done, he said, Vittal, you gave me the child and you took it away. Contentment. That fits this definition that Bhagwan has given here. That when your mind is constantly rebelling, so what happens is, no matter what happens, oh, I lost money, or I gained money, or I have a small house, or I don't have so many things, or I don't have a big car, or I've lost. There are many people who had the wealth and lost it. They're still content that this happened because of Bhagwan or my karmas. So that is what contentment it is a state of mind which makes you feel that you have enough, even though other people might think that you don't have enough, but you think this is okay, this is best for me. In Samarth Ramdas has written 205 shlokas called Manache Shloka. Manache Shloka is verses to the mind. Verses to the mind. And in that, he says that Jagi Sarva Sukhi Asa Kona Ahe, Vichare Mana Tuchi Shodhuni Pahe. So what it means is Jagi Sarva Sukhi Asa Kona. So, oh mind, because these are verses to the mind. So he's talking to the mind. So we ask our mind, oh mind, who do you think is the happiest person in the world? Jagi Sarva Sukhi Asa Kona Ahe. Jagi, in the world, who is the happiest person? You think. Mana, you ask yourself. And the meaning of that is, if you really look at the world, you will actually find that you are the happiest. This is very, very deep, subtle meaning. That there is nobody else other, because other people's sorrows, if you really go to look at them, you will know that you are better off. There is a story of a Mullah Nasiruddin. He's a wise man, mythical wise man. So in the village, he would sit at the temple. I know some of you have heard this, but I'm sure there are people who have not heard this, or those who have heard may have forgotten. So I'm telling you this story because it's one of my favorite ones. So he used to sit in the, in the village, they sit at the, whatever, one place under the tree or near the temple, and all the people would come and everybody from the village would complain to him, my sorrow is this, my sorrow this, I've got this, everybody was complaining. So one day he said, you know what, all of you, I'll tell you one thing, you tie all your sorrows in one bundle in a cloth and then bring that bundle of sorrows to me tomorrow. Fine. So they said, sure. So they all tied their sorrows in one cloth. You know how they tie a bundle, and they brought it. And then they saw there was a clothesline hanging there. So the Mullah Nasiruddin said, okay, tie all your bundles of sorrows here. And they all did that. And then all the people were given a choice. They said, okay, now you go examine every bundle. Whichever bundle you think is the least, you take that. You have a choice. Now you exchange. You think your sorrow is the biggest, right? My daughter's not getting married. I've got too much sorrow. This is happening. I've got too much sorrow. So, okay, fine. So you examine, and so everybody went and examined. They said, let me see, his sorrow is less than. So everybody went and examined. And finally, everybody came back with their own bundle. Everybody took their own, but they said, no, Baba, mine is better than all these other. Contentment. That you realize that, whatever I have is the best. And a spiritual seeker must always, whatever difficulties come, we must think that this is meant for our evolution. If I take it like that, then I'll be happy. Happy means not that, happy doesn't mean that you go on jumping around here and there. That is pleasure. Not that. You're at peace. Contentment will bring peace. Otherwise, you will be constantly saying, why me? Why did this happen to me? Why should it happen to me? This. All the qualifications, remember that they are meant for the mind being peaceful. The mind being at peace. Okay? All right. Next one. Ahankaradi dehantan bandhanyana kalpitan swaswarupavabodhena muktum ichha mumukshita. Mumukshutva is the impatient and burning desire to release oneself. by realizing the real nature of oneself from all bondages of egoism to the body, etc., which are bondages created by ignorance. So mumukshutva is freedom. In very, very ordinary language, if I were to tell you, it is freedom. And what is it freedom? What are we looking for freedom from? We are looking for freedom from suffering, unhappiness, agitations. Are we not all looking for this? Okay. So the point is that if we think why these agitations are there, if we think about that, the answer is ego. That's why he said here, from all bondages of egoism. And ego, one definition of ego is identification with one thing or another. That is what ego is. Ego is when I identify with something and then I consider it to be me. And then whatever is happening to that other thing, I consider it as happening to me, and then I'm miserable. So the greatest ego is to identify with the body. That is the basic and the original sin. That's why it is an original primordial sin to consider myself to be the body. The body is something other than me. Okay, now I have taken that body to be me. Now whatever happens to that body, I say it's happening to me. And so the final and then of course from the body other relations are coming. So the family is coming, friends are coming, enemies are coming. Everything is because I am the body. I am this body, so I have a husband. I am this body, so I have children. I am this body, so I have a job. I have a house. I have a car. Everything is for the body. And so not only that, when I consider this body to be me, then everything else is mine too. So when my children are suffering, then I'm also suffering. When something happens to my car, then I'm unhappy. When something happens to my house, then I'm unhappy. So anything that happens to anybody whom I have mistakenly taken them to be me. Why? Because I have mistakenly taken this body to be me. And that's why this bondage is of this ego. So the final liberation will be to cut this ego off, to cut the identification of. That is the only way to be absolutely free from all suffering, absolute freedom from suffering. Otherwise, there is no other way. And that absolute freedom is what is known as mumukshutva. Of course, I get free of my worry. You know, somebody who's looking for a job, once he gets a job, then he's free of that worry. But then some other worry grasps him. Then he says, oh, now I have no girlfriend. Now I have to get married. Now I have no house. Now I don't have a big car. So all these other things come. So we get these little partial freedoms. Not that we don't get that. Like, I'm not worried now. Okay, now I'm financially secure. I have a house, so I'm secure that way. I have a job, a permanent job. I've got a government job. So that those sort of little freedoms we have. But the final freedom is from this, because you'll get freedom in one aspect, and then some other bondage will be there waiting for you. So if you want this complete freedom from bondage, and that is what mumukshutva is, and the qualification is a burning desire. But of course, and I already told you the story of Swami Vivekananda, where he pushed his friend underneath water and said, how badly were you gasping for air? That much you should be gasping for liberation, for moksha. That is what mumukshutvam is. Now, if we take this definition, all of us will not be here in class next Friday, including me, because honestly, right? Okay, so we must not say that, oh God, you know, now I don't have but we have something now. We want peace now, can I? Is anybody saying absolute? I don't want peace absolutely. Then the one who doesn't want no peace at all, then this class is no good. So we are looking for peace all the time, right? We have, because why? That is our natural state. So we, no matter how much sorrow we have, after a few days, we come back to our normal state. So this, even though we don't have a burning desire, it's okay. We have the desire to study. So we must continue with our studies. Okay. Because that reason, otherwise it is like in chapter 6, meditation, Bhagwan says you should sit on a deer skin. That's what it said. and previously, because they used to meditate in the forest, this deer skin or animal skin, any animal skin, will keep the insects away. That was the reason. And then there had to be kusha grass, you know, the grass on there. And then there had to be a cotton cloth. And then this is how it is described in chapter 6. So of course, when Gurudev did this in one of the yajnas, one person came to him the next time Gurudev was in that same town, that person came and said, you know, I could not do meditation. You explained how to do it, but I could not. And Gurudev said, why? He said, I couldn't find the deer skin. Finished. End of story. So whole thing he dropped. There was one other student, his guru told him to meditate. And he also came back after a few. He says, you know, I can't meditate. So he said, why? He said, every time I sit for meditation, my mind is just wandering, you know. So I gave up meditation. So Guru said, why you're not giving up the wandering mind? Why are you giving up meditation? That's what we do. First thing we'll do is we'll drop meditation. First thing we'll do, we'll drop the class. But no, that is what titiksha is. To stay in class, no matter what happens. I will study. Okay, today my mind is wandering, but maybe someday, all of us have hope. So someday I will be able to meditate. Someday I will be able to understand. Someday I will, you know. So that is what the real titiksha is in this path. That come what may. Let me keep listening. Okay?
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Can ego ever be given up?
Yes. Yes. That's what we see in the realized masters. There is functional ego and psychological ego. The functional ego stays, the psychological ego is given up. Any realized master, that Raman Maharshi, anybody, Vivekananda, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Gurudev, Ramakrishna Paramahans, anybody, that's zero ego. Because Ramakrishna Paramahans had no ego, that's why he could write to his mother that God is the one that is looking after all of us. Who am I to look after you? That comes from that position. From that position comes statements which Gurudev has made. Where will you be if I leave you? Where do you think we are all here? Yes, what did he mean? As the supreme consciousness, if I leave you, where will you be? That tells us. If it was not possible, then the scriptures would not have told us to do it. Please remember, when we study Bhagavad Gita, when we study any scripture, any text by Bhagavan Shankaracharya, if it is totally impossible, there is no way they'll tell us. How can they tell us something which, that's why Bhagavan Shankar, that's why the words of the realized masters are so important, because they have achieved it. Now they are telling. Understand that, you know, when we read texts by Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya, oh my God, what a genius. So he has achieved that state, and that's why now he can tell. There is a story of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. One lady went to him. That time, you know, she was living in the village, and then she had to walk so much to Dakshineshwar, whatever. And she went and she told Bhagavan Ramakrishna Paramahansa that, you know, my son is eating too much sweet. So can you tell him something? So he said, you come after 30 days. So she thought, okay, then he will give some, you know, some remedy. So she went back with her son, her young son, 7, 8 years old. And then after 30 days, she came back. And then Bhagavan said to the boy, okay, please give up sweets, huh? She got really mad. She said, what do you mean? I walked so much that time, 30 days. So could you not have told me 30 days ago? This, like, please give up sweets. Why did you make me walk again? He said, no, that day I had not given up sweets when you came that day. So I gave up sweets for 30 days. So it was possible for me to do it. So now I have the right to tell your son, give up sweets. Otherwise, I had no right to tell him. So that's why, please understand that when the spiritual masters are saying it, they've done it. That's why they have the right to say it. That's why their words have conviction. Even me, when I, you know, sort of get disturbed and all, then immediately the thought comes, this is not what you said in class. Jaya, why are you getting disturbed? Even my mind tricks me, because then I don't have the conviction. There will be no conviction in my words. That's why I told you that mumukshutam, burning desire. You know, if I say I have a burning desire, no, that's false. Words have to have conviction, and only the conviction will come when you yourself are doing it. You yourself are doing it. That's why this morning I was watching my mind. I was not upset. I was nothing. I myself said, she said, I'm sorry. I said, no, I am sorry. It was my fault that I didn't check the phone. I didn't even think the phone, I didn't hear it ring. So otherwise I would have checked. Right? So immediately you accept. So otherwise you can't tell others. How can you tell others to do it, what you're not doing? One more verse. Manda madhyama rupapi vairagena shamadina prasadena guru seyam pravriddha suyate phalam. Half-hearted and mediocre aspirations in a seeker may also come to bear fruit, being increased by the grace of the guru and by means of renunciation, calmness, etc. And so here now, because after giving the highest definitions of all these words, and I told you, if we start looking at that highest definition, we will not be in class. So it doesn't matter whether we have manda is third level, madhyam second, medium, and the highest. We don't have the highest. We may be at the third level, we may be at the second level. We are at one of these two levels. We have to be. Otherwise, we would not even have been in the mission. We would not even have been in class. So it doesn't matter. This is what Bhagavan is saying. It doesn't matter. Even if you have that much, now you start. And as you hear all these things, but one thing is there in our, is our responsibility is when I hear those things, I must do those also. That only hearing, that's why it says, being increased by the grace of the Guru. Please understand that grace does not come without self-effort. Now that this verse can be misunderstood totally. So now, I am a manda buddhi, third rate. I am third rate. But Bhagavan said that grace, okay, so I will wait for that grace to come. The grace will never come. The grace will never come. Let me tell you. Unless I open the blinds of my apartment, the sunshine is not going to come in. The sun is not going to come in. It is the sun's grace to give light. But if I choose to keep my blinds closed, the sunlight is not going to come in. And that is my responsibility. So here, yes, it is okay for us to be manda or madhyama. We are not highest, but we need to work at it. The more effort we put in, the more grace will dawn on us. It is grace is directly proportional to self-effort. So how sincere am I in attending classes? How sincere am I? More than attending classes, what I hear, am I following it? So the idea is to hear and take it in your heart. What we do is all this other gossip, which is not required, we take it to heart. And this thing is going from ventilation. That's why we got 2 years. 1 year it goes in, the other year it goes out. No, it needs to go in and it needs to become wisdom. When will it become wisdom? When I actually use it. When I actually use it in my life. And the way to use these qualities in our own life is to watch our own mind. That is the first step. What are we doing? Where is our eyes and mind is on other people's minds and what other people are doing and how is he behaving and how is she behaving and who is afraid, who is not. No, 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 no. Your own mind. Your own mind. You watch your own mind. You work at it. And then when you work, then the grace of the Guru also will be there. And then from Manda, you will go to Madhyama. And from Madhyama, some life, not in this life, some life we will go to highest. We will reach there. We are on the path. There's something my dad used to say. When you get on a train from Bombay to Madras, that time when he was alive, it was Madras, not Chennai. He said, you will reach Madras. You will, because you've gotten on the train. You've gotten on the train. So that is the effort. Get on the train and stay there. Staying there is titiksha. Getting on the train and then staying there is titiksha. So get there and then whatever is being told, please try to follow it at least. Try to follow it. So one thing is when Guruji has told us that we should be at a level 3 for COVID, fear level 3, we should try to remain at 3. We should not be at 9 and 10. We should have faith. That's the faith. If Guruji is saying it, okay, then I trust him. Then I should not have any other, that kind of fear. Okay, one more verse we'll do.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know, although you said that we must try, I think I would rather emphasize saying we should.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing. Like, for example, when I hear from you, Dee, said you must do, you try to do one Shabda Bhagavatam. I do it, the come what, but I'm just saying as an example, the whatever come what may.
Yeah. You
It,
should. Yeah.
it's
But
a must. I take it as a must. Yeah.
true. It is true that we must, but I cannot say it. I'm saying try. For me, it is I must do it, and then at least I get the sort of a little bit of a thing to say, please try. Yes, Moini, you had a question. You're muted, Moini. You're muted still.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens when you feel that you are not evolving, you are not progressing?
No. See, what it is if you're how spiritual progress happens, let me tell you. You go like this, and then you plateau out. Every spiritual, this is the path. It is not a straight vertical line upwards. It is upwards, and then it flattens, and then it's a little bit upwards, and then it flattens again. So you actually let the guru decide. How do I know that I'm spiritually evolving? Is one thing is, what is the state of your own mind? Is it at peace in adverse situations? That is the main thing. Is it telling me to follow my disciplines? Am I following disciplines? Whatever discipline is in your own life, not what somebody else is doing. So this will also tell you that, yes, I am better off than I was before. I used to get upset, and now I don't. So maybe there is some progress. I like studying. I like attending classes. I am understanding. I can understand what is being said. All these are there. And if there is a guru, fortunately, if there is, then the guru also will tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember Guruji said to me once, he said, where were you and where are you? He said to me once, that much only. He said, where were you and where are you now? He said to me. So I know somewhere there has been a little bit of progress, right? So it's actually, his word is more important than now, because I might think, yeah, I am at the highest level, but no. So that's what it is. Okay. Look at your own mind. See the state of your own mind.
Jayaji.
Yes.
Hi. Namaste. This is Tanu. I also feel that perhaps sometimes it's not even that important, to keep checking on yourself. It's like, you can keep weighing yourself every day and not see any progress if you are sort of trying to lose weight or whatever. But just having that confidence, it's almost like having that pratiksha, that, and having faith that if I'm doing my practice, whenever the guru or Krishna or Ma will bless me, I will have what, maybe I'm not even fit, having that you can't just expect progress if if I'm not capable of having that at this point. So just having a bit more introspection and having this feeling that if I'm feeling I'm not progressing, perhaps my effort needs to be a little bit more, perhaps my own practice needs to be a little bit deeper, and then it will happen. Because if you study for a test, there's no way you are going to fail it. But if you're not doing so well, that means perhaps your effort is a bit lacking. I don't know. I think of it sometimes that way.
Yeah. But in the beginning, you said that it's not important to check yourself
All the time. No.
like the way.
I
Yeah.
not all
No,
the time.
that is not true. You
Is
must
it?
see, yeah, weight, yes, weight, there's no point going on that scale every day. Tell me, I have a losing battle against weight, okay? So external things, it's okay. But when it comes to spiritual studies, if you're diligent and if you really want that liberation, you must have these checks on your mind, and they must come regularly. They must be there. That's why regularity in attending classes is very important. It's not, like one day I'll attend, today I don't feel like that. No, in spiritual practice, and that is what titiksha is. Not like, yeah, okay, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. No, put in effort. Like you said, later part you said, put in effort. So how would I know if I don't even check where I am? How will I know where to put effort in then? So that check back, even in weight, if I have to weigh myself at least once a week, because that is what is telling me I'm going off my diet or exercise or whatever. So even that check is required, but not like a daily check, morning weight, evening weight, and not that type. But in the spiritual path, these checks are required, because I have to know where my efforts are short. They're not as much. So I will not know. How will you know? My effort is not much. How will you know? Unless you've checked your mind, that your mind has not reached that stage, that means something in the effort is lacking. So
Well,
checks are required.
I was more thinking about self-doubt when I said that, you know, doubting your own self, that am I progressing? Perhaps I'm not progressing, perhaps I've plateaued or whatever else. I don't know whether that is going to be very beneficial.
There is a saying, remember one thing, this self-doubt, when you say you doubting yourself, you're doubting God.
Yeah.
आत्मा विश्वास ही परमात्मा विश्वास है, क्योंकि आत्मा ही परमात्मा है. That faith you must have, that knowledge you must have. So if your self-doubt, it is ego that is coming in the way. It's a very strong ego.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying you should not self-doubt. So if you are not self-doubting, you perhaps you won't feel that I'm not progressing. Or
that is ego. That is coming from ego then. Because you have not done a check and you don't have any doubt, that is ego. Because you have not done a check. You're saying check is not required, and you're like, no doubt, I'm progressing. It is coming from ego.
What happens sometimes is that it's not that regular check you do, like checking, mental checking, but if something happens, just like you said, about yourself in the beginning of that, is that something like that happens and you say, oh, am I deviating from such and such? Then again, if same thing happens, you say, oh, I'm not progressing. So that is but again, it's not that you are conscious, but you are conscious of what you are hearing, reading, or thinking about, sometimes. So these jolts, little jolts, give sometimes doubt. Not doubt in the material content, but doubt in yourself.
Yeah.
And there again, there the part of steadfastness comes. You stay there, see where from you are moving. So these things, like you said, I like that it's not progress vertical, it goes up plateau and up plateau. That is better. But there are shakings in between.
Yeah.
Here and there.
That is
so we don't live alone.
Yeah. But when the situation comes and then you have not, say, done as per what the scriptures have said, then you know that more effort is required. So even though you're conscious and aware of the teaching, that is what I'm saying. You're conscious and aware of the teaching, but you need to also practice it. Just listening is not going to be enough. It is like, I know the recipe, I know the recipe, but I'm not going to make it. Now, how am I going to enjoy that dish? I'm not going to make it. A recipe I have, material I have. What's the point? I know how to do it. Is there a point? There is no point. I need to put in effort. So effort is lacking. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll meet next Friday. See you all next Friday. Have a good Dashera, happy Dashera on Sunday, and we'll see you next Monday. There is a class, okay? So I'll see you on Monday, most of you, or tomorrow. ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्ति भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Hari Om, everybody.